I wanted to sleep really well. So I went to the dispensary. Got these like sleep gummies. It had THC in them, but like I'm no fool. I'm used to THC. I take it at night. I'm like so ready for sleep. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I take the gummy. I am rocked. I am higher than I have ever been. Like, I remember the first time I got high in college. I hope you remember the first time you got high in college because personally, I couldn't feel my legs. It was like the craziest thing. And I was like, this is adult. Wait, it's not that deep. Hey, you guys. Welcome back to Not That Deep. I am same studio, different location, just on a couch. I wanted to make sure to be on a couch because I was worried that if I was like the top half only, you would get me confused with the Michelin Man. And the reason I'm in this sweater is not because I like to point out when I get stains on my clothes, but I obviously did Newly, and I'm risky. I'm pulling a risk by even saying their name because you shouldn't really give free promotion, but Newly fully keeps me stacked because I don't like buying clothes. I don't like buying clothes, and specifically I don't like buying white clothes because whenever I buy white clothes, even if I don't have marinara sauce, somehow marinara sauce ends up on my ass. So this way, I mean, I maybe shouldn't be saying this, but it's fine. It's not that deep. Like if I wear someone else's white clothing and if I get it a little bit dirty or if I get like makeup on it or a spray tan, then you just kind of send it back and someone else gets it professionally cleaned and it's perfect. My mom like did not let me buy white clothes or buy white clothes for me for most of my life. And we pass down different traditions to our generations below. That is something that I will be definitely implementing to my children, and I still implement it for myself. So, to that, mom, thanks. I'm so happy to be back and recording because if you haven't heard, I like to break HIPAA a lot. If I'm going to break something, it's going to be HIPAA. And I just feel like more people should be breaking HIPAA. And I obviously don't mean in like a doctor's context, like HIPAA is super important. But people are rare to give out their health conditions, which I get. Like, you don't want to be like, oh, is anyone else having like really bad hemorrhoids this week? You don't want to be saying that, and I respect that. But I think sharing what's going on with you in a health context is really helpful to other people. Like your safe space. I'm not saying to just say to random people on the street. The reason I'm getting into this is because I had a flare up of mono, which mono equals Epstein-Barr virus. And do I think it's insane that Epstein-Barr has Jeffrey Epstein's last name in it? Like, yeah, there's only so many names in this life. And how is Jeffrey Epstein's name included in like a sick virus? Like, imagine if why is Epstein-Barr Jewish? Like, why is mono Jewish? I think we need to dig into that a little bit deeper. It might as well be called like Siegelstein bar. No one would really think twice about it. Also, my roommate just got a bagel from a place called Grabstein's. And we were like, I think that's anti Semitic. Because, like, that's not a Jewish last name. And I feel like it's like something about Grabstein's. I can do a whole dissertation on this. Something about Grabstein's just feels like someone came into New York City and was like, we got to compete with Goldsteins, Russ and Daughters, Solomon Schechters. How are we going to get up there? Grabsteins. I respect it. She said the bagel was amazing, and I'm really happy for her. But there was a note of anti-Semitism, and that's maybe why the bagel tasted a little bit more delicious. Who knows? She didn't get locks, though, and that's a true test of a place. If you get a place, if you go to a bagel shop and the lox is nasty, it's like everything else is cut to shit. Where are you getting your smoked salmon from? And how is it tasting? Like, that is so important to me. So I had Epstein-Barr. I don't remember the first time I got mono. It's like sex. Like, you might not remember your first time, but like you're gonna maybe keep getting it. I feel like maybe in college, who didn't have mono in college? Who didn't have mono in college? who didn't have an STD in college. I just felt like if you didn't have an STD in college, you probably weren't hooking up with the right people. Like there was something sickening about getting an STD when like everyone else had one and you were like in on this little secret. It's like, who did you get it from? And it's like, I'll tell you if you tell me. Then you'd write it down on a sheet of paper and swap with somebody. Sick. With mono, it was like you couldn't really just take a pill. It just kind of took time and you were a little sleepy. Now, with mono, people don't know this, and I don't think anyone has ever come to my podcast for an education session, but let me serve it to you because this could hit different. And this links back to why it's important to talk about your health conditions. So when you get mono, aka the Jeffrey Epstein-Barr virus, it stays dormant in you. Similar, or rather dissimilar to like a cold or like COVID, let's say, for all intents and purposes. When you get that sort of virus, it flushes out of your system and then you can get it again from an outside source, but it doesn't stay dormant in you. Mono, Epstein-Barr, once you get it once, it stays inside of you. It stays dormant. And different things can make it flare up. So seasonality, stress, those are like the main ones. I'm sure definitely just like your immune system being weak can definitely make it flare up. But so for whatever reason, I had a flare up and it was incredibly sad because I missed a lot. And when I think about missing things in the moment, I'm upset, but I'm also like, it's not that deep. It's really not that deep to be missing out on events because you need to be resting. Like if I was there in my sick self, it wouldn't have been fun. I wouldn't have enjoyed myself. I had been planning a holiday party for 2 months. I wasn't able to go. It was like the most upsetting night of my life. My sister flew in. All my friends were going. I like reserved a bar. It was really exciting. I had a stunning outfit, just stunning. And I couldn't go. And it sucked, but I also was like, it's not that fucking deep. If someone is actually upset that I can't go to this party because I'm sick, speaks so much on them, and I don't really need to be associated. Everyone that I told, they were like, Dana, please, for the love of God, respect your body and just stay home. And I appreciated that because to be surrounded by people that like can acknowledge that is really important. And I actually think it's rare just based on people I've been talking to. So yeah, I was sick for like 3 weeks. And here's the thing about being like sick from mono is I'm not coughing, sneezing, and having like sick symptoms. I'm exhausted. So I'm sleeping a lot. And it's weird. Like you can't have soup to cure mono. Nothing can cure it. It's only time. And our society's relationship to diseases that can't be cured, it's almost like soup curable diseases are so much more well received than non-soup treated diseases. I hope that doesn't offend anyone. If it does, like, here's why. I think that I had a soup related disease right after I had mono. So to back up, I had mono. I was sick for 3 weeks. What turned from sleeping a lot turned into insomnia and I couldn't sleep. And that was hell because I was just stuck with my own thoughts. What was extra hell was I wanted to sleep really well. So I went to the dispensary. I got these like sleep gummies. It had THC in them, but like I'm no fool. I'm used to THC. I take it at night. I'm like so ready for sleep. I'm like, yes, 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 yes. I take the gummy. I am rocked. I am higher than I have ever been. Like I remember the first time I got high in college. I hope you remember the first time you got high in college because personally, I couldn't feel my legs. It was like the craziest thing. And I was like, this is adult. Like, this is kind of where I'm at. But I was so high in my bed from this sleep gummy and I was awake for 3 hours. So it didn't put me to sleep. It just remained high. It kept me high for 3 hours. I was having amazing ideas. Like, I was writing all of my ideas down. But I also was almost like in a paralyzed state. And I was like, I don't think these gummies are working. So I kind of kept just like trying to find different ways to fall asleep. And then it made me realize like to be able to sleep is an absolute dream. To be able to actually fall asleep and to feel rested is something that I totally took for granted. Like, I didn't realize how much of a delight that was. So to not be able to sleep and then to feel the ramifications the following days, like, it sucked. And if you have trouble sleeping and you're listening to this, like, I have so much empathy for you and I'm so sorry. And also, what works for you? What doesn't work for you? I'm sure that so much of your life has been like trial and testing and trying to figure out what works for you because we're all different and that's beautiful. But so I couldn't sleep. Finally, I start feeling better and I'm like, I'm going to go get a haircut. Let me just go grab a haircut. So I ended up, here's the thing. When you get a haircut and when you send it to people, they're not like, oh my effing God, like this is amazing. It looks like shit because you want to hype your girls up. My friends were like loving my hair when it was straight because it was like layered and the woman did a really good job blowing it out. But when it was curly, my friends still honestly said it looked good, but it doesn't always matter what other people say. It matters what you think. Like, you are the end all be all for your opinion on your haircut, and I'm not happy with it. So I had mono, I had a bad haircut, and then I had COVID. Honestly, like, the worst of it all was the bad haircut because that shit's gonna linger with me. Like, you know what stays dormant? You know what stays more dormant than mono? A bad haircut. So the bad haircut happened, and then and I have to tell everybody too. I can't keep it to myself because you can't also be walking around with a bad haircut and not talk about it. Because then you're worried that other people are thinking, does she know that she got a bad haircut? Also, no one is that worried about you. Everyone is so worried about themselves. No one is that worried about you. Yet in my head, I'm like, it's crazy how I just met these people in a cafe and I know for a fact that they're gossiping about my bad haircut. They're not. The COVID hit me deep because hello, 2021. Your disease just called. Who the fuck is getting COVID in 2026? I'm absolutely mortified. I am really brave to even be coming right now and like telling people that I had COVID because COVID, people are like, I might have had it, but like I never tested. Like, I was always that bitch. And now it's like, I was so sick that I had to test. The woman came in, I had a woman doctor represent. She came in and was like, so in a world full of flu, you have COVID. And I'm like, sorry, I need to get that framed. That's like honestly stunning. In a world of flu, be COVID. Maybe. Like, I'm vaccinated, you know? Like, I'm doing my part. I'm not walking around with a MAGA hat. Like, I'm doing what I can to protect my body. And they're still like, and what if we just sweeped in and got COVID? The last time I had COVID was when I went to Bounce for SantaCon. Like, to give you a sense of where I was in my headspace when I last had COVID, like, I was wearing leggings out to the bar because it made my butt look good. Like, that's what I was focused on. I was wearing a shirt that said, you little hora. That's what I wore to SantaCon in 2021. I was sliding down the slide at, oh no, it was Slate. Slate had the slide. Yeah, right? Have you been on that slide, Chris?
No.
But you've seen it? Something is like, I went to Slate in like 2024 and like, it was, you're too old to be going to Slate. You're too, it's like there's just a threshold. We went for like a Lunar New Year party. People were not happy to see us, but we were thrilled to be there. But so I had COVID and then I had it for like, I guess 5 days. I mean, I'm not trying to be a super spreader, so I quarantined my ass. Point being, like, I was telling everyone that I had mono and that I had COVID. Why? Because it gives context to a lot of different things. Why I'm not out, why I can't wake up for a workout, why I need to go slow for work. Like, to communicate your health concerns is to be seen and to be understood. Now, I know people in my life very close to me that would never even tell you if they were feeling slightly off. I get it, but to me, I'm like, why are you suffering in silence? I'll send you some Veselka. Like, I had my good friends send me food, which was so nice. But here's the thing. Like, food is sent for soup disease, which is COVID. Mono is not soup disease. As a society, like, I even, like, if my friend has a bad cold, I'm going to send them soup. If my friend has, what's a good, I'll compare it to my sister. My sister has Lyme disease, a plethora of tick-borne illnesses. She has mold toxicity. She has a lot of other things that complicate her daily life. She has been battling this for 8 years. It's gotten better over those 8 years. But my point being, at first, everyone is sending soup. At first, everybody is like confused what's going on. They're sending care packages. And similar to anything, it kind of dies off as it keeps going. But like to have temporary illness is such a gift. Doesn't matter if you're down bad for weeks, I'm sorry, or months. Like it is a gift to know that your body will recover. It is a gift to know that your immune system is strong enough to be able to fight off whatever it is getting received with. Like I am not thrilled that for 4 weeks I was not able to do. But what I am thrilled about is that my body was clearly sending me a signal. I was able to listen and I could receive it and I could then act on it. Not everybody has that gift. For me, everything in my life goes back to my sister. My reason for being, my reason for doing, for working as hard as I do, for like your experience shapes your perspective. And for me, like having a sister who was robbed of so much has given me a perspective of just because illness is temporary, you are going to be okay. And to even have that idea in your head is, I would not have that if not for her. I probably would get really mentally not great had I known that this was not temporary. And that's where I give the ultimate shout out and kudos and so much respect to people who have non-soup illness that cannot get better with soup. I'm still treading carefully about how I talk about this because everyone has a situation that they could say, but no, Dana, you're wrong because I'm speaking my truth right now and I would love to hear your perspective. But like soup illness is, I see it as like temporary. And I think the longer that you see somebody sick and the longer maybe you are sick, how easy it is to lose hope. If you cannot get cured from soup, what does that mean? I don't know. I like just kind of came up with the soup thing. I think it's interesting. I think it could be offensive, but I think that I have so much intel of what it looks like to not be able to get better from soup that I think I can speak on it. I think also with like the health aspect of sharing of the amount of people that I talk to about having either of those diseases, including the bad haircut. You you can't imagine how many people are like, "Oh my god, my cousin's neighbor had the same exact thing. Have you tried XYZ?" There's so much power in community and in sharing ideas and thoughts that you never know when something is going to hit. And I understand keeping it to yourself. I understand not wanting to show like that you're battling a little bit, but so what if you're battling? Like you cannot help that you're sick. Most of the time you cannot help that you're sick. I think of like when I would get so hungover and I'd be like throwing up all day, like, yeah, that was probably my fault in a wild sense. But most people cannot control the fact that they got sick. Therefore, you cannot be blamed for it. I'm so sensitive to illness and sickness and temporary sickness and everything just like because of my sister. And I know that I'm going in circles right now, but that's because I wasn't really like planning on talking about it. But I never really have a roadmap anyways. I think that I am going to, is that the bathroom? Is it the hash slinging slasher? I think it's the hash slinging slasher. I just wanted to make sure it like wasn't me. Chris, it's okay. It's not that deep. I really just didn't know if it was something I was doing. Also, what time are we at? Okay, perfect. Okay, pivoting a little bit. I am going to Denver this weekend and I'm so excited. Denver to me is so special because if you have been to Denver, like you probably smoked weed in Denver, you might have skied. I don't know what you've done in Denver, but I lived there for a month, like a couple years ago. Denver to me is freedom, it is nature, it is the best. So my sister moved out to Denver a few months ago and she's loving it. And but to go back, she has her battles every single day. And so Denver to me is opportunity for her to get out there and do her best to live. And I'm so excited to see her in her element because the last time I went to Denver to visit her, my flight, well, I missed my flight. This was juicy couture. I don't remember if I talked about this. You know how people are like, you know how people don't, okay, well, maybe it's just me. I didn't really understand the value of checking into a flight. That sounds ridiculous, but I just didn't. Like checking into a flight to me was always kind of optional. Like as long as you showed up to the gate, your ass was there. I bought like a $900 ticket, whatever it was. Show up, 6 a.m. flight. I show up at like 4:30. Ass in seat, ass at gate. I like they start boarding and I'm like, "Oh shit, I have to download my boarding pass. My bad, to get through into the gate." I go to open my phone and it's like not letting me receive my boarding pass. And I'm like, ugh, classic. Like I'm 28 years old, but of course I'm going to have some IT error. So I go up to the gate. I'm like, can you do for me? I love just like asking a gate agent. Like all of a sudden I'm incapable. I'm like, can you do for me? She goes, oh, doesn't look like you ever checked in. And I said, oh, okay, I must have not checked in. Like, can y'all check me in? Like, don't be crazy with me. She said, no, we gave up your seat. I was like, I'm so sorry. What do you mean you gave up my seat? So apparently, and might be common sense, but it's not for me. Nothing about me is common or sensical. If you don't check in time, they will just give up your seat. If you're listening to this and you're like, is this shocking to you?
No, I learned.
I think everyone needs to learn it at some point. Every time I fuck up, it's a learning lesson. So they said we gave up your seat, but this was at LaGuardia. They said, but we could put you on a 4 p.m. flight at Newark. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, are you kidding me? I was so upset because I ended up missing like a whole day of camping. And then that flight got delayed. And then I thought I met my husband, but then he had a girlfriend. And like, actually, it's a funny story. I kept getting put on standby. Getting put on standby is like being the last person to get picked up at a dance. You're sitting there in the bleachers, you're waiting for your chance, and then everyone gets coupled up and they're like, try the next dance. I'm sitting there and this guy is talking to me, and I'm like, this is why my flight got fucked up because I was supposed to meet this guy. He's like going hiking, he's super into music. We're talking, and I'm like, thanks, grandma. Like, I'm literally convinced my grandma sent him to me. We're talking, and then he gets onto the flight and he asks the flight attendant at the gate, he's like, can I give her my seat? And I'm like, oh my God, like, I cannot believe you're this in love with me. You're going to give me your seat. You know, he just wanted that voucher at the end of the day, but I still was touched by it. The gate attendant said, I'm so sorry. That's illegal. We cannot have you give her a seat. He said, I'm so sorry. I was like, it's okay. Waiting for him to ask me for my number. He gets onto the plane. He never asked me for my number. The gate attendant comes up to me and is like, I would say that's your future husband, but he kept talking about how he's going to visit his girlfriend. And I was like, I'm going to be sick. And then all of a sudden, like, Maori comes out and he's like, you are not the one. I was so upset. I still think he could be my husband, but maybe just not in this quarter, not in this century. I ended up getting on the flight, obviously. But for this time, I will be checking in. I will hopefully be skiing. I will be getting delicious marijuana. Perhaps that puts me to sleep, but doesn't keep me awake and keeps me high. And something else I wanted to leave you guys on before I end is I recently got really into creative numerology, which is like woo woo to the next level. So I want to share with you what it is so that you can track it for yourself if you're interested. So what it is everyone has like a number for each year. So I'll show you how to get it. So my birthday is 8 August 26th. The year doesn't matter. So my month is 8. The day is 26. So whatever your month is, add that to your date. So 2 plus 6 equals 8. And then you add 1. The reason why you add 1 is because of 2026. So it's based off the current year, not the year that you were born. So for 2026, 2 plus 2 plus 6 is 10. And then you break that into a single digit. So it's 1 plus 0. Are we tracking? This totally took me a very long time. I never remember how bad I am at math until someone is like, oh, can you do mine for me? And I'm like, actually in my calculator, like 4 plus 2. And it's like, you are a cashier. You should know this. But so my number is 8 plus 8 plus 1 equals, like, I should know that. It's 17. 17 and then 1 plus 7. So does that make sense? You break down 1 plus 7. So my year is 8. So you look up creative numerology 8, and that will tell you kind of what your year is going to look like if you believe in it. It's kind of like a medium. I want you to do yours. When's your birthday? Okay, so your 5 plus 5 is 11. Nope, it's 10. Don't give me that look. I just said I was bad at math. 5 plus 1 is 11. So 1 plus 1, you're in your second year. Look up right now creative numerology 2. Creative numerology year 2. Yours makes so much sense for year 2. Every single time I do this for someone and they tell me their number, I'm like, that tracks. I don't know what someone could tell me that wouldn't track, but basically, like, you're born in year 1. Like, that's kind of when you're like finding your footsteps, you're understanding. And then year 2, I would imagine, is like you're working on it. I don't really know. Like, can you tap in?
I don't have my mic on, so I don't think.
Oh, because you didn't think I would talk to you.
Yeah,
That makes sense.
yeah, I can say it.
Can you say it?
Signifies a period of connection, partnership, diplomacy, patience, and subtle growth, emphasizing cooperation and building relationships rather than bold, independent action. Focusing on we over me for gradual success through teamwork and sensitivity.
Is that hitting at all?
It's in. It's in.
Yeah. I like, let's say I was all of a sudden number 2, I would be like, I so relate to that. Like, I could kind of find the understanding. But I think I was relying on it so much when I was sick because for me, 8 was like, this year is going to start off so slow. Like, you might be sick for like the first 3 weeks. You might need to hibernate for the first month. Now, there's other people that are 8s that are receiving that same information that maybe are trying to convolute it in their head of how it relates to them. But sometimes I think when your body is not giving you the answers that you want, you kind of look to a higher stance. It's not that I don't believe in God, and I don't want to get into that right now. But right now, I think that the power of number is kind of like calling me, and I'll kind of see where that leads for 2026. But I blacked out this entire episode and I don't remember what I talked about, but what I do know is that I'm so grateful for all of you for listening. This is like still just my favorite thing to do. Talking, yes, but connecting, yes, yes. And the messages you send me are unreal. The community that I feel like we're building is bigger than I could have ever imagined when I started this. And I thank you for listening, sharing, liking, commenting, thinking about what's not that deep, and have an amazing day.